Hi, everyone. So, there's wave of genuine delight building momentum toward your reality right now. Not temporary pleasure that fades quickly, leaving you back in familiar dissatisfaction. Not superficial happiness that sits on surface while deeper currents remain troubled, but profound joy that touches your core, that reaches places in you that have been dry for so long you'd forgotten they could be watered, that activates capacity for happiness you'd begun to doubt you still possessed because circumstances have been grinding you down, wearing away at your natural ability to feel lightness, making you forget that life can be sweet, that existence can be nourishing, that days can unfold with ease and beauty rather than constant struggle and disappointment. This isn't false promise designed to manipulate hope you're afraid to feel, isn't exaggeration meant to create temporary excitement that crashes into inevitable letdown. This is accurate reading of energy gathering around you, of circumstances aligning in your favor, of universe conspiring to deliver experiences that will genuinely make you smile, genuinely make you laugh, genuinely restore your faith that good things happen to you, not just to other people, not just in stories or imagination, but in your actual lived reality that's been feeling more like an endurance test than like gift worth celebrating. And the double emphasis on very, very happy, that's indication of magnitude, of intensity, of the quality of joy that's approaching is less than hash zero. 5 hash is greater than, not mild contentment or quiet satisfaction, though those have value too, but exuberant happiness, the kind that makes you want to call people and share the news, the kind that makes you dance in your kitchen or laugh out loud when you're alone, the kind that feels almost too good to be real, which is exactly why you need to stay with this message until the end. Because your disbelief in your own worthiness for this level of happiness might make you dismiss this reading before you absorb what you need to hear, before you open yourself to receive what's trying to reach you, before you let yourself hope for joy that your protective mechanisms want to prevent you from hoping for, because hope that gets crushed hurts worse than never hoping at all. In the sacred gift of happiness that's earned through survival rather than given randomly, what's approaching you isn't arbitrary luck, isn't cosmic accident. It's response to everything you've endured, everything you've overcome, everything you've continued showing up for, even when showing up felt impossible, even when you wanted to quit, even when you couldn't see point of continuing to try. The universe or God or whatever intelligence you believe orchestrates life's patterns has been watching your persistence, your resilience, your refusal to become bitter, even though you had every reason to become bitter. Your choice to keep your heart open, even when life kept breaking it. And this happiness arriving is acknowledgement of that strength, is reward for that perseverance, is balancing of scales that have been tipped against you for long enough that tipping in your favor feels shocking, feels unbelievable, feels like it must be mistake or temporary reprieve before next disaster. Let me illuminate what forms this happiness might take as it saturates your reality. In the architecture of profound happiness materializing after extended difficulty, certain elements combine to create joy that's layered, multidimensional, touching multiple aspects of your life simultaneously, rather than improving just one domain while others remain stagnant. And this comprehensive shift is what creates the very, very happy quality. What makes this feel like actual transformation rather than temporary improvement in isolated area that leaves overall life quality essentially unchanged? Your approaching happiness likely involves relational component, someone entering your life or someone already in your life revealing themselves differently. And this person, whether romantic partner or friend or family member or mentor, brings energy that lights you up, makes you remember who you are beneath the survival mode you've been operating in, reflects back to you the joy and playfulness and lightness that got buried under weight of everything you've been carrying. Their presence doesn't just make you happy in their company, it makes you happier generally, raises your baseline mood, reminds you that connection can be nourishing rather than draining, that relationships can add to your energy rather than depleting it, that being seen and valued and cherished by someone who actually shows up is possible, is real, is happening for you finally. Watch for someone whose presence feels different from other people's presence, who makes you feel more yourself rather than less, who brings out laughter that feels authentic rather than performed, is less than hash zero. 5 hash is greater than, who creates safety where vulnerability becomes possible rather than dangerous. And notice if they're already in your sphere, but you haven't recognized them yet as a source of joy that's building. Or notice if they're approaching, if new person is about to enter your reality, bringing exactly the energy you've been needing, even though you might not have known what you needed until they provide it, and suddenly everything feels lighter, easier, more fun than it's felt in months or years. Some happiness comes through accomplishment or recognition, something you've been working toward finally succeeding. Effort you've been investing, finally paying off in visible, tangible ways that others can see and celebrate with you. Validation arriving after period of doubt about whether you were on right path, whether your work mattered, whether anyone would ever notice or appreciate what you've been building quietly, persistently, often alone. This recognition might be professional, promotion, or opportunity, or public acknowledgement of your contributions, or it might be personal, people in your life finally seeing your value, finally appreciating what you bring, finally treating you with respect and care that matches what you deserve rather than taking you for granted or minimizing your significance. You might be approaching exactly this kind of validation that creates profound happiness, not because external recognition defines your worth, you know your worth regardless, but because being seen feels good after being overlooked. Being celebrated feels healing after being dismissed. Being valued feels affirming after being treated as replaceable or insignificant is less than has hone. 0 hash is greater than, and there's nothing shallow about finding happiness in recognition, in success, in accomplishment that proves your effort wasn't wasted, your faith in yourself wasn't misplaced. Your persistence through difficulty was worth it because it led here to a moment where what you've been building finally becomes visible, finally becomes undeniable, finally becomes something others recognize as valuable because it is valuable. You always knew it was valuable, and now everyone else knows it too. Still others arrive through simple pleasures multiplying, small joys accumulating into substantial happiness. Not one massive life-changing event, but series of delightful moments, beautiful days, easy interactions, pleasant surprises that stack on each other, creating overall sense that life is treating you kindly, that good things are happening with frequency, that shifts your entire experience from grinding through difficulty to flowing through ease. This might look like perfect weather when you need it, money appearing when you need it, people being kind when you're vulnerable, opportunities presenting when you're ready, synchronicities stacking in ways that make you feel supported by something larger than yourself, held by benevolent force that's working in your favor rather than against you. This reflection invites you to consider which domain of happiness, relational, recognition based, or accumulation of simple pleasures, resonates most strongly as you read this. Let me clarify what watch until end suggests about the importance of staying present with this entire message. Watch until end means the full picture requires your complete attention, that the happiness I'm revealing unfolds in layers, that each piece of information builds on previous piece, that if you stop halfway through, you'll miss critical elements that help you recognize the happiness when it arrives, help you receive it fully rather than deflecting it through unworthiness, help you sustain it rather than sabotaging it through disbelief or fear. The invitation to stay until end also acknowledges that your attention might want to wander, that part of you might want to dismiss this as too good to be true before you hear the full message, that your protective mechanisms might try to pull you away from hope before hope can disappoint you. And I'm asking you to override that protective impulse to stay present, even if staying present with possibility of happiness feels vulnerable, to let yourself hear completely what happiness is approaching and how to prepare for it. In the resistance to staying present with promises of joy, especially when you've been hurt before by believing good things would happen only to have those good things fail to materialize. There's understandable self protection, understandable skepticism, understandable impulse to dismiss before you're disappointed. But that self protection, while it prevents disappointment, also prevents receiving, also blocks the very happiness it's trying to protect you from losing. You can't receive what you won't stay present to hear about, can't claim what you dismiss before it fully explains itself is less than hash zero. 5 hashes greater than, can't open to joy. You've decided in advance, must be exaggeration, or lie, or mistake. It's essential you recognize that staying until end isn't passive consumption, it's active choice to remain open, to stay receptive, to allow possibility that happiness really is approaching rather than armoring against hope that might hurt if it doesn't pan out. And this choice to stay open is practice for receiving the actual happiness when it arrives. Because if you can't stay present with message about happiness, you'll struggle to stay present with happiness itself, will deflect it, minimize it, find reasons it's not real or not sufficient or not meant for you, destroying what you've been given through inability to simply receive it as gift rather than examining it for hidden costs or inevitable endings. Some people need to hear message multiple times before they can absorb it, before their nervous system can accept that happiness is real possibility rather than cruel tease. And if you're one of those people, come back to this reading, listen again, let the message about approaching joy sink deeper each time, let it soften your resistance, let it create opening where happiness can enter when it arrives. Because the reading itself is preparation, is priming, is creating receptivity in you that makes receiving the actual happiness smoother, easier, more complete. You might need exactly this repeated exposure to possibility of joy. And there's no shame in that. There's wisdom in it. Wisdom in recognizing you need practice, believing good things can happen to you before good things actually happen is less than has hone. Zero hash is greater than wisdom in preparing your nervous system through repeated exposure to idea of happiness so that when happiness arrives it doesn't shock your system into rejection, doesn't trigger sabotage patterns that destroy what you finally have because having it feels too unfamiliar, too good, too vulnerable. This reflection invites you to consider, are you tempted to dismiss this message before reaching the end? And if so, what would it cost you to stay present anyway? Let me address what you need to do to prepare for and sustain the happiness that's approaching. Release the belief that happiness must be paid for through suffering, that joy requires balancing disaster, that good must be countered by bad. All the scarcity programming around happiness that says you can't just have it, can't just keep it, can't trust it to last, because this programming will sabotage your happiness if you let it, will make you destroy good things because you're convinced they can't be real or can't last. So you might as well end them yourself rather than waiting for life to end them, rather than letting yourself fully have them and risk losing them and experiencing that loss as devastating. Practice saying yes to good things. Practice receiving without deflecting. Practice letting yourself enjoy without immediately looking for problems. Practice being happy without qualifying it with but or however or I'm sure this won't last. Practice embodying joy rather than just acknowledging it intellectually. Let your body remember how to relax into pleasure, how to soften into delight, how to expand into happiness rather than contracting in fear that happiness will be taken away. Whew. Your practice doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to do this flawlessly. You just have to be willing to try, willing to let yourself have moments of uncomplicated joy, even if moments are all you can manage initially. Trusting that moments accumulate into hours, into days, into sustained state of happiness that becomes your new normal rather than exceptional experience. Create space for happiness by releasing what's blocking it. Relationships that drain you, situations that deplete you, commitments that serve obligation rather than joy, patterns that keep you stuck in suffering, beliefs that say you don't deserve pleasure or ease or celebration, all the accumulated weight that makes happiness impossible, not because happiness isn't available, but because you have no room to receive it, no bandwidth to experience it, no capacity to hold it, because your cup is already full of everything except joy. Tell people when good things happen, share your happiness rather than hiding it. Let others celebrate with you rather than downplaying your joy to make them comfortable. Because sharing happiness multiplies it. Because joy expressed amplifies joy experienced. Because letting others witness your happiness gives them permission to pursue their own happiness. Makes you example of what's possible rather than person who suffers quietly to avoid making others feel bad about their own struggles. Your happiness isn't insensitive to others' pain. Your thriving doesn't cause their suffering. Your joy doesn't diminish available joy in universe. It increases it, it ripples out, it touches people around you in ways that serve them, even if they're not currently experiencing happiness themselves. Trust the happiness when it arrives. Trust that you deserve it. Trust that it's real. Trust that it can last. Trust that accepting it doesn't tempt fate to take it away. Trust that you're allowed to be very, very happy without cosmic punishment for daring to feel good, without immediate disaster to balance the pleasure, without having to give back what you're receiving because you're not worthy of keeping it. Your worthiness isn't determined by your suffering, isn't proven by your struggle, isn't contingent on your pain. It's intrinsic, it's already yours. It's foundation on which happiness can build if you let it. May you recognize happiness when it arrives. May you receive it without deflecting. May you trust it without sabotaging. May you let yourself be very, very happy, fully, unashamedly, beautifully. The joy is gathering. The happiness is approaching. Your heart is ready, even if your mind doubts. Let yourself have this. Remember this. You've been preparing for this happiness through everything you've survived, every difficulty you've navigated, every disappointment you've processed, every loss you've grieved. All of it was making you into a person who can hold happiness when it arrives, who can appreciate it deeply because you know what absence of happiness feels like, who can savor it fully because you're not taking it for granted, who can sustain it wisely because you've learned through hardship what actually matters, what's worth protecting, what deserves your energy and attention and care. The happiness approaching isn't random, isn't arbitrary, isn't accident, is less than hash zero. 5 hashes greater than. It's meeting between your readiness and universe's generosity, between your worthiness and life's abundance, between your openness and joy's arrival. And when it comes, when you feel it building, when you recognize it materializing, don't question it, don't minimize it, don't wait for other shoe to drop. Just let yourself be happy, very, very happy. The kind of happy you haven't let yourself be in so long you'd forgotten it was possible, the kind of happy that makes you grateful to be alive, grateful to have persisted through everything that tried to break you, grateful that you stayed, that you're here, that you get to experience this joy that's yours, that's real, that's arriving now. This will make you very, very happy. You've watched until the end. Now let yourself receive what's coming. Your happiness is here.